Coffee prices skyrocketing. My life in Colombia, 2025. I decided to create a video every year in March, my birthday month, in order to create a clear record of my evolutionary journey. I will start this video with the topic of coffee. We arrived in Popayán, Colombia in May of 2017. I found an advertising of a 10-hectare, 25 acres coffee farm with a picture of a waterfall. My reaction was, this is false advertising. The waterfall is probably nearby, but not on the coffee farm. Well, I was wrong. The waterfall and the stream, which continues after the waterfall, creates the border of this farm. The minute I saw the waterfall, I knew that my true self, which I now call Diesse Tati, led me to this farm, because this is where I am destined to live for the rest of my human life. Lee and I were completely ignorant of just about everything related to coffee and agriculture in general. In 2018, coffee in Colombia was selling on average for 5,600 pesos per kilo, or 63 cents per pound. Coffee price rose slowly from 2018 to 2020 to 8,800 pesos per kilo. In 2021, coffee sold on average for 14,000 pesos per kilo, and in August of 2022, it reached 20,000 pesos per kilo. I wanted to believe that coffee prices would keep going up, but instead, in 2023, coffee prices dropped back down to 11,000 pesos per kilo. Further, in 2023, due to very rainy weather, our production dropped from its highest level in 2019 of 440 arrobas to 90 arrobas. We made $3,000 in coffee sales the entire year, and our labor expense for the year is about $5,000. Of course, divine perfection created a small income for Lee on the internet, and we were able to cover our yearly expenses. In September of 2024, coffee prices started rising again, and today coffee is selling at 23,000 pesos per kilo, or $2.60 a pound, from 63 cents in 2018 to $2.60 in 2025. This screenshot shows that coffee is now selling for $3.20 per pound, highest price since 1977. The explanation for the sharp increase is drought in Brazil, weather-related challenges in Vietnam, and lack of rainfall. Coffee prices hit a 47-year record high as drought shrinks supply in Brazil. This chart shows coffee production by country. Brazil 37%, Vietnam 17%, and Colombia 8%. In December 2024, Bloomberg News reported that global coffee production is on track to fall short of demand by 8.5 million bags in 2025-2026 season, making it an unprecedented fifth year of deficits. I no longer have any expectations, and therefore the coffee price will be what it will be. I continue physically working on the farm every single day, including Sundays. I just turned 63 years old, and I can honestly say that working on the plants brings me peace. I have no desire to stop this physical work because with my vital energy, I could not sit around all day in front of the TV or a computer screen. In September 2023, Gilbert planted coffee seeds into a sandbox with a little red earth soil covering the sand. In November, he transplanted the sprouts into bags filled with black earth and chicken shit, gainasa. There were at least 1,000 coffee plants. The coffee was ready for planting in March, but that is when coffee picking, cosecha, started, and everything was delayed. Finally, the coffee was planted in June. Dry season starts in July and typically ends at the end of August. But last year we had a very dry summer, which lasted till the end of September. Our second worker, Erasmo, watered the coffee with a 20-liter water tank on his back. But that was not enough, and we lost probably 200 plants. In this picture, one can see a few coffee plants under the guava tree. The guava fruit started to fall, and I opened one up to show the pink fruit inside. Behind the coffee are the sacha plants. Here are a few more small coffee plants and one large one that was not uprooted because it produces nicely. One can see more old coffee plants in the back. We will plant another 1,000 plus coffee plants this year in December. We have to plant new coffee plants into certain areas where the soil is poor and the coffee plants don't grow or produce well. In this photo, it is very clear to see the few small coffee plants to the right of the pineapple plants. The sacha plants are growing very nicely below, but the sacha also did not grow in this area. It took me years to figure out that the guamo tree is exceptionally beneficial for soil health because it's a natural nitrogen fixer. Its ability to enrich the soil makes it ideal for reforestation projects and to improve fertility. For more information, please watch my Life in Colombia video of 2024. I noticed that coffee plants were producing nicely under the guamo trees, and not so much where there were no guamo trees. However, it took me years before I finally searched on the internet and found this information when I was doing my video last March. None of my workers over the last 8 years informed me of this very important fact, known by just about everyone in the coffee business. Once I figured this out, I also noticed that the sacha grew wild, right up into the tree, and the leaves blocked the sun. In this picture, Erasmo is cutting the large branches of the guamo and releasing the sacha vines. The key is to have a little shade from the guamo, but not too much. The sun is of course crucial in producing coffee and the sacha inchi. I must now diligently wrap the sacha vines onto the wire or other vines and snip the end of every single vine in order not to allow it to grow into the trees. More on the sacha coming up. To plant the guamo is very simple because the pods produce the large seeds and they grow spontaneously without fertilizer. On the left of this picture is a small guamo right under the sacha plant. Here is another one. Here is a small one besides the stick and only a few small coffee plants in front of the banana trees. This is the same guamo 1 year later. This is a picture of the 1 year, 6-month-old coffee. The coffee plants regrow after the 8-year-old coffee plants are cut down to an 8 to 10-inch stump. These coffee plants started producing 6 months later. These are the same plants now. The coffee picking season is just starting. In 1 month, the green coffee will be mostly red. I have not seen this much coffee production on so many plants since 2017. Gilbert guided us nicely in order to achieve this great production. Here is another plant under a tomato tree. One can see 5 green tomatoes on the plant. This tomato plant just planted itself there. On this picture to the far right, one can see the green guamo pod. Therefore, these plants are under a guamo tree. Here is one more picture of coffee plants. In my 2024 video, I discussed in detail our challenges with growing the Sacha Inchi plant. For more details, please go to the link provided. This is a flyer I made in January of 2024, translated to English. Our Sacha plants produced for 1 year, and then they all started dying. I attempted to bring the Sacha to the Popayán market, but the normal human consciousness level continues to be very low, and people will not spend money for great nutrition when they can simply buy unhealthy packaged food for a lot less money. We planted close to 3,000 Sacha plants in 2018, and by 2020 we lost all of those plants due to a combination of factors: poor soil, too much rain, and a devastating root-eating insect. Initially, I decided to sacrifice 10,000 coffee plants in order to plant 1,500 of the 3,000 Sacha seeds in good, fertile soil. But the root-eating insect eventually ravaged all 3,000 plants. In 2021, we replanted 2,500 Sacha plants, but of another, more resistant variety. The coffee, which I tried to kill off by having the stump cut down to ground level, grew back, and therefore I then decided to plant 1,000 of the 2,500 Sacha together with the coffee. This is a 2024 picture of the coffee together with the wildly growing Sacha. Because I did not realize I had to trim all the vines in order to control the growth, I got very little production of the Sacha, but at least we had a fair bit of coffee from that lot, and most of the 1,000 Sacha plants survived. The other 1,500 Sacha plants were planted in 3 lots where initially pine trees grew. The red clay earth is very acidic, and therefore even the more resistant variety could not survive. Only around 100 plants out of the 1,500 are still growing because in some parts the soil is a little better. Erasmo suggested I treat the soil with dolomite lime. This is an amendment to correct soil acidity. Given its high percentage of calcium and magnesium, it neutralizes toxic aluminum and raises the pH to levels favorable for crops. This 3rd lot is now ready for planting. The guamo branch in the top left of the picture is from a small guamo which planted itself. I also asked Erasmo to plant guamo at every 3rd post. This will create a permanent live post and will add its nitrogen-fixing power and organic matter to this poor soil. This is a picture of 2024 showing the corridor between the 1st and 2nd lot. I was told to plant nasadero trees to create live posts, but this nasadero is a weed tree and it is very soft. When the Sacha plant grows well, its weight pulls down the nasadero. That is why I now decided to replace the nasadero with guamo, avocado, or mangostino, seen in this picture of the corridor in 2025. Here is one of the aisles where the sacha is growing well, and an avocado tree is at the end of this aisle. I am convinced that the extreme challenges which the entire world population will face will start to become obvious to most this year. I can't imagine depending on the government for my retirement or social security check. People who live in the country are in a much better position than all those city dwellers. Chaos will set in very quickly when the food shelves are empty. University degrees will mean absolutely nothing other than an extra debt burden. I'm convinced that I was guided by my higher self, Diesse Tati, into this life outside of the matrix system. Therefore, there is a reason why I am so strongly pushed from within to keep moving forward with the Sacha Inchi project. This is a picture of wildly growing hot peppers. These little things are super hot, but Lee and I love hot food, and we eat the hot peppers with every meal, except of course our Sacha banana mixed breakfasts. We didn't plant the hot peppers, they simply appeared. Here Lee is collecting them after they have dried in the secadora, the drying dome. And most importantly, we finally have our hens. Happiness is 30 acres in the middle of nowhere, and your closest neighbors are your chickens. This chart shows egg prices from 2010 to 2024. In the USA, eggs are now on average $7 per dozen. That would be almost $18 for 30 eggs. We sell our eggs for $3 for 30 eggs. There is no shortage of eggs here. However, it is very nice not to have to depend on external factors, which of course we can't control. In August of 2023, we built our hen house. Here I'm painting the roof. The hens are in the fenced-in area where Lee drops all the kitchen scraps. The hens eat just about everything, except for avocados and tomatoes, which are bad for them for some reason. In the kitchen scraps, there were seeds from the squash, and that is what started growing in front of the fence. The white things on the ground are the squashes, crawling into the area where I will be planting the sacha next week. This is another view of the hen house with nice sacha plants and a big old avocado tree in the back. Finally, here are the stars of this video. The hens, with the most important one and the only one with a name. The black one named Benita. Benito, our amazing perfect dog, and Lee, the one who takes care of the entire clan. I trust that the practical information I provided in this video will serve the individuals that are ready to take responsibility for their lives into their own hands. Infinite love. I no longer identify with any labels. Ukrainian, Canadian, dentist, mother, daughter, sister, wife, and so on. I am infinite love, Diesse Tati. Unfortunately, even individuals who are waking up do not understand what is happening. Humanity is being bombarded with tragedies, more and more every day, but most people are still trying to find a solution inside this rotten system. Humanity is at a monumental dead end. This is an evolutionary crisis. It is the end of the human species, the end of the intelligent animal. Each individual must take the decision to stop participating and feeding this horrible illusion, which we believe to be our reality. It is time to dream very hard about the next step, the new Idesic species. This body of mine has to last at all costs, because transformation happens inside of the body, inside of each and every cell of the body. I have no intentions of returning into this simulation game and starting over with a new body. Please watch my video. We are in a Monopoly type simulation game. Let's break through the dome into prime Earth. Infinite love. From millennium slavery to individual sovereignty. In the Orient, in the 20th century, Sri Aurobindo and the Mother discovered and anchored truth consciousness, the supramental consciousness in the earthly atmosphere. Once well anchored, the new consciousness was ready to move on to the next stage, its popularization and propagation. In the West, in the 21st century emerged personal creatia, the power of the sovereign person to govern oneself. Sri Aurobindo's integral yoga goes beyond individual liberation and undertakes collective transformation on earth. After the death of Sri Aurobindo, the Mother continued their work, and on February 29, 1956, the supramental consciousness was definitely anchored on earth. One single and sincere look at the present world situation is enough to convince anybody that it has reached a point of no return. Humanity is heading towards a monumental dead end. Let's stop repeating our obsolete ways, which can only bring more suffering. Personal creatia continues the diffusion of truth consciousness in the West. Substantial unity replaces the guru-disciple separation. Let us all spread the contagion of love. I'm out of the game. Like Truman in the Truman Show, I have taken my bow and left a world of illusion, this computer simulation to which I have given authority to manage my life. I leave the theater, where I have played time and time again the roles of disciple, daughter, parent, dentist, entrepreneur, citizen. Today, I devote myself fully and without limits to spreading individual sovereignty, the truth consciousness that I have been experiencing since 2002. Infinite love.